Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome to the fourth episode of Womb Wisdom. In this episode, we'll be talking about preconception and we'll try to look at preconception from the lens of Ayurveda. Once again, I have very eminent, very loved Dr. Vasudha with me. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Namaste.
So, ma'am, I would like to pick up from the whole concept of preconception itself. What does Ayurveda has to tell about preconception for women?
So Ayurveda definitely describes a lot about preconception.
Okay.
So before somebody looks into conception itself, there are specific steps which are told to the couple, not just
Okay.
to the female. That's also very very important, and it's understood that we have to take care of ourselves. So there are four different things. We say it is Rutu, Kshetra, Ambu, Bija. Rutu is the season.
Ritu, Kshetra, Ambu, Bija.
Bija.
Okay.
Okay, so Rutu is the season. So, what is the season in which a person can look at conception? So, this is
Okay.
also very specific because we talk about Rutucharya. So, now obviously, it's important that we ascertain that the particular season somebody is trying to conceive is also good enough, favorable enough. Okay, and next comes Rutu Kshetra.
Kshetra.
Kshetra is the place. So, which is the place? The uterus.
Uterus.
So you have to do things to cleanse the uterus, to ensure that the uterine health is good enough, so that you have a healthy progeny. Because what we look at is proper healthy conception first, and because of which we look at a healthy progeny. Next comes Ambu. Ambu is water or nourishment,
Okay.
any kind of fluid influence. So when we look at that, then we have to understand that there is right nutrition or nourishment which is required to both male and female, and due to which the zygote which is formed after fertilization is healthy. And then comes the bija. So bija is actually the crux. So
Okay.
bija is the seed. So what is the seed in the male? It is the sperm.
Yeah.
And what is the seed in the female?
Ova.
Ovum. So we have to ensure that the oval and the sperm health are adequate enough. Just not healthy is not enough. It should be good,
Good quality.
good quality. So optimal quality of the sperm and the ovum is extremely essential for conception. But there are a lot of ifs and buts.
So, ma'am, you have picked up on Ritu. So, which season or is season dependent on the body of the couple? So, how do we define that?
So season is actually dependent on the universal season. So we
Okay.
are talking about seasons in nature.
Okay.
Right? But we also will look at season within. Both
Okay.
are there. So now
Okay.
what is the season outside? Certain seasons where we see vata predominance, like we can see it in these windy seasons, like before rains or after rains, we have a windy episode. So between June, July, around that. And interestingly, in say in parts of Karnataka also, and in some parts of South India, they follow a routine called in Ashad Mas. You are
Yeah,
supposed
Ashar
to
Mas.
you
Yeah.
are supposed to go to your mother's place. Don't
That's
stay at
right.
your in-laws' house.
That's right.
What's
Yes.
the reason? The reason is it's not a good period for conception. So scientifically, it was so well designed that especially after the first year
Okay.
or the first ashada of the year you got married, you have to do this.
Yes.
Afterwards, it's okay. It doesn't matter.
It's apparently a ritual that every family follows.
Correct. So the reason is actually this.
Surprisingly, the more and more we talk about it and I get to understand all of this, I realize everything in our society or religion or a country is backed by science. Somewhere or the other, there's a connection. I'm very surprised that this is the reason behind sending new brides to their maternal homes. Oh, all right. Okay. So, Asar Mas has to be avoided. After that, what would be the most preferable time for conception?
So most of the seasons are okay, but peak summers once again are
Alright.
not said to be great, or peak spring seasons. But keeping in mind that we do not want to restrict too much, we only restrict the season where there is high vata. It's like we just discussed. So it's important to first understand the rutu outside. Then you
Okay.
also understand the rutu inside.
Inside.
Another aspect to rutu is your sleep hygiene, your diurnal season, maintaining your biological clock. All this is important because finally that makes up your health,
Correct.
and that's important for conception as well. Now, what is the rutu inside? So we say rutu kala. So rutu kala is nothing but ovulation.
Okay.
If you're not ovulating, where's the question of conception, right?
Obviously.
And there are so many factors which influence ovulation. Now you have raised in PCOS. Now that is directly influencing ovulation, because in PCOS, what's the problem? You do not release the eggs basically. You may be having menstrual cycles many times, which are called anovulatory cycles, but you are not having ovulatory cycles, which are extremely important for releasing the egg.
Releasing the egg. All right. So, ma'am, before conception, how long before conception should a couple plan or start preparing for conception?
So adequately, at least 6 months would be a good time
6
period,
months.
because as per Ayurveda, we definitely recommend a thorough panchkarma,
Okay.
before the couple wants to conceive. And when we say panchkarma, that itself is a regimental procedure for minimum 21 days. So what we suggest, we spoke about, bringing the health within. So whether it is improving the bija or the seed quality is very important. You may or may not have a conception related issue. We are not talking about it. We are just saying that you are very, very healthy, you're very normal, but do a preconception check to understand whether everything is good. And even if everything is good, doing a panchkarma enhances your overall physiological responses, thereby prepares you, mind and body, both are prepared.
I think, ma'am, preconception or not, everybody should go through Panchkarma. I have gone through it and it's amazing. Any questions regarding Panchkarma, I think at Vivekananda Health Global, we are very happy to answer. Moving on to, ma'am, you said that we should give 6 months to our body. So, first of all, is it more directed towards women, or there are some things that you would like to advise to men as well that they should do? And second, what are these things that we can, apart from Panchkarma, what are these things that we can do during these 6 months?
So why I said 6 months is you will take around a month to complete Panchkarma itself, because the regimen involves 7 days of what we call as Snehapana, which is giving some medicated ghee based preparation to the couple, and then after 3 days there is massage and steam or Abhyanga Sveda, and then followed by Virechana. So the first level is more concentrated on your gut, and then we do something called Basti. So Basti has got an 8-day period, a 14-day period of what we call as it's an enema kind of a treatment. Rather, it is a medicated enema or a anal route of administering medicine. So they're just different ways in which we can understand. So now Basti itself takes this long. By then, if it's a female, she's going to get her next cycle. And
right.
then we also do a therapy called Nasya. So Nasya is a treatment which is commonly known to improve problems such as sinusitis or nasal allergies. But Nasya is actually a route of administering any medicine through the nose. Because Ayurveda says Nasayam Shirasodvaram.
Okay.
The nose or the nasal root is actually a kind of dwara or the door to your shiras or your head region. So when you say head region, why is it so important? Because all your control mechanisms, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and rest of the nervous system is all governed in your head region, which is the brain. So it is very important that we work stepwise with Virechana, Basti, Nasya, and if they have problems, then of course there are changes. But if they do not, many times only Virechana Basti is suggested or Virechana Nasya is suggested. So we pick the Panchkarma based on the requirement. So this is how we need, say 1 to 1.5 months, and after that they are definitely advised to take medication, because
Alright.
post Panchkarma you are supposed to take some medicines to improve your responses.
Are these fertility medicines in particular?
Specifically, yes,
Okay.
to improve the male reproductive health and the female reproductive health, both ways.
So, are you suggesting that Panchkarma should be taken by both men and women?
Very much.
All right, and then it's followed by the medication. Anything, I mean, since it's all about mind, body, soul, anything else that needs to be done to connect the whole system?
So it's basically something which is very holistic. It's a complete approach.
Yeah.
So we definitely bring in yoga. So there is yoga for the couple. Like people are very interested to learn fertility yoga. So it doesn't work if you do not do few things which are very, very essential. So yoga techniques is actually yoga therapy. So doctors here, they train the couple on specific yoga practices, which includes asana, pranayama, relaxation, and meditation sometimes. So help them restore their mind, and in turn connect with their body, because that's where we are going to achieve better mind-body equanimity. And this is very essential for maintaining our hormones.
All right.
That's very important. So the first 2 months we did this medication, prepare yourself. Also
Okay.
prepare for the change. It needs some time, right? It's not like I'm ready, so everything is done. So when it happens, you start getting anxious. So you really can grow yourself up, because especially the first time parents, they have a lot of anxiety. So all this will help them enhance their mental well-being, physical well-being. Be prepared to welcome the newborn. First, not in physical form, but within.
Within. And ma'am, how frequently should couple practice yoga within a week?
Minimum is 5 days. I suggest all 7 days, because there's no weekend for yoga. Your weekend is good for work, related
No weekend
break,
for the
but
body.
not weekend for yoga, because the days you are more relaxed when you do not work regularly. I think you should do yoga, because that day you're more flexible and you're more open. You don't have that work pressure.
A
behind
schedule
you.
to follow, so it's
Exactly.
more relaxing. Makes sense. And ma'am, because of a lot of information, thanks to Instagram once again, we have all been introduced. We very recently being introduced to something called Garbha Sanskara, which our mothers were not aware of. Neither were they doing. Maybe a few, but not on the majorly. So, what is Garbha Sanskara, and is it something that should be done necessarily? Would you suggest it to all of your patients?
So what we just discussed, right, the preconception care, Garbha Samskara is the same, but Garbha
Okay.
Samskara includes samskara for the garbha, that is after the conception is where we say garbha. What the garbha is nothing but the embryo or the fetus, and we talk about samskara means to help the garbha grow well. There are
Okay.
different things which you do to the garbha, in the sense enhance the growth and development of the
Okay.
fetus is garbha samskara, but just not the physical growth, but we talk about overall growth and development. But Garbha Samskara starts actually preconception. From that preconception care is where the actual healthy Garbha forms, right? So obviously, Garbha Samskara therefore includes both preconception and
Post-conception.
post-conception pregnancy care.
So first of all, it's not sanskara; it's Garbha Samskara. All right. And ma'am, we have so much information on multivitamins. We have so much information of modern practices. We have so much information in all the kinds of scans that we should be doing in preconception stage. So how do we blend, especially at Vivekananda, how do we blend modern science and modern medical approach of preconception with Ayurveda, and how can it benefit all of us?
So preconception care is, as we know, is extremely important, and many of them, if they are unable to conceive, is there where they go for assisted methods like IUI or IVF. And even you have a problem and you want to attempt IUI or IVF, the chances of success in IVF or IUI is going to be higher when you attempt an Ayurveda preconception care, because
All right.
you have
Okay.
prepared yourself well, right? Prepared your
Okay.
body well. So why not? It is definitely going to enhance the success rate. And we have worked successfully even with fertility centers, fertility experts, where we have seen that when we do the preconception care, or the same Virechana, Basti, Nasya,
All right.
medication, yoga therapy, acupuncture, then when they have seen repeated IVF failures, after this whole intervention, they see better success rate.
So, are you saying even the modern medical care suggests and promotes Garbha Samskara?
Yeah, see, modern medical care basically does not understand all this, but now as two individuals or two doctors start collaborating and start understanding, they start understanding the fact that when all these interventions happen, the lady who has undergone repeated IVF failures has definitely seen positive results after going back from here.
Okay.
But there is a defined period there with us. So it's not like you finish everything and then you just send them. So you again assess and check on the different scenarios where you start seeing the changes, like whether it's your hormones, whether it is the ovulation response, whether it is the egg size, and also say egg maturity, when the egg releases, all this have to be examined. So once the follicles are healthy enough
Correct.
and good to go, only then conception is going to happen.
Ma'am, all of this Garbha Samskara and everything, yes, we should do it. But in practicality, if I talk about it, both men and women are working these days. They're traveling to their offices, they have long hours, they're sitting continuously. We do talk a lot about Dincharya continuously in our previous content as well. We have. But to be honest, ma'am, from a common man perspective, it's quite difficult to follow, right? So if you can give like small, impactful, and easy to do tips from this whole Garbha Samskara and from Dincharya concept, like easy to follow things. I should be motivated to do it, and I should be able to do it as well. Are there some quick tips that you can give to our couples?
Yeah. I think, see, though we say Panchkarma is essential, before you even do the Panchkarma, you have to get ready for that. So some tips are basically follow some routine, start following some discipline, because discipline starts enhancing your hormones. Helps you start staying more fit physically, mentally, emotionally. You need to get fitter, and therefore look at your wake up time, look at your sleep time. What time you should sleep, what time you should wake up. All this has been discussed enough. And you also should understand what type of food you take. Stop
Yes.
taking junk food. Take
Hmm.
nutritious food. Take food which is rich in proteins, carbs, not much of fat. Try to reduce your fat content in the body by not taking processed food, fried food, spicy
Yes.
food, and also ensure that you do not take too much of non-vegetarian food, especially from outside. So these are all something very specific as a guideline which the couple can start following. And apart from this, eat a lot of fruits, include nuts like almonds, walnuts, which are going to be very useful. Women can include raisins, figs, natural enhancers of hemoglobin, and you can also include things in food as such, that including flax seeds, including good protein in terms of healthy protein when you talk about plant protein, and of course minimum portion of carbohydrates. So this is like a set regimen which they should keep watching. So be very observant of what you eat, and this is also important for the couple. With this, physical activity, half an hour of minimum walking, at least half an hour, 45 minutes of yoga, all this done enhancing your physical and mental well-being. And of course, in this area, what is important, keep your reproductive hormones good.
So, okay, ma'am, two questions I have in this. Is it safe to say that I should be watching my sleep? Any couple or me or anybody should be watching on their sleep patterns. Should be including more and more plant protein, nuts, and should be avoiding fried food.
Correct.
Right? So these, and half an hour of walking at least. So these could be quick things and easy to do things rather, that a couple should definitely adapt like 6 months before conception.
True.
Right? Secondly, ma'am, I want to understand, when we talk about all of these multivitamin medicines that are available over the counters, and people do take like iron capsules, people do take a lot of multivitamins. These days, there are, some multivitamins available, especially directed towards your ovum health or over health. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, are these something that you would suggest that people should take apart from what is already available at their homes?
Right. So even after Panchkarma, when we give medicines, Ayurveda, to improve reproductive health, we do suggest that you take folic acid, because folic acid is a prerequisite for any couple looking at conception. The lady should take folic acid regularly,
Correct.
because folic acid can prevent problems such as neural tube defects. So there are some spinal issues which come up if you get deficient with folic acid in the fetus, basically.
All
That's
right.
called spina bifida. So we can avoid such problems by regular intake of folic acid. So that's why you would have seen that your doctor would suggest folic acid intake
Right.
3 months minimum before you want to conceive.
Mm.
So these things are also essential. that they should not go low on their micronutrients, macronutrients, vitamin D3, B12, keep everything adequate. So that's why starting things around 6 months before, where you do some blood checks, you do your
Hmm.
ultrasound scan, you do a semen analysis, you do a follicular study. All these things start helping us understand, okay, where do you stand?
Hmm.
How much can we enhance from where you are? And that's where those 3 to 6 months are highly essential.
Now, obviously, I mean, people who are listening to this and who are in this phase of their lives will definitely have a gynecologist that they go to. But in general, how at what frequency should a woman should get her hormone panel done so that she's aware of what is going on, if everything is right or not.
Correct. See, preconception phase, like 6 months before, should be good. But if they are already kind of planning, even a year before is good, because sometimes in some cases like PCOS or endometriosis and many more, we need time. 6 months will definitely be not sufficient. And if they have already started facing irregular menstruation, they keep skipping cycles, they do
Hmm.
not know the reason, you should not keep quiet. So even just 2 days back, I saw a lady. She has been having delayed menstruation for almost a year. Now
Hmm.
she wants to conceive. That's going to take time.
So I mean, in such cases, people should have hormone panel done every quarter or every six
Yeah, so
months.
if you are on some medication or on some therapy, then the doctor will ask you to repeat the hormone panel. Otherwise, when you decide to probably take the family road, then you can go to a doctor, get all these things done.
So, ma'am, do you also experience that people directly come to Ayurvedic centers for for conception, or do you always see that they first try to go to medical expert, modern medicine? How does it go around in Vivekananda?
So we see both sides.
Okay.
So some of them come directly. They say that we want to conceive, and we've heard that Ayurveda offers
Hmm.
some preconception care. How can you help? This is one category of couples we see. Another is, we have not been able to conceive. We are married for like X number of years.
Hmm.
We've been trying for these many months or these many years. So is there a natural way? We know about IVF, but we are not keen in IVF.
Hmm.
So can you help? This is another category. And one more is where they go to the fertility expert, and the fertility expert might themselves refer, saying that we've had repeated failures, or we are not able to get the right result. So since we work together, how can you
Hmm.
enhance, and then how can we treat the couple together? And the fourth category is, they have seen some IVF failures, but the fertility expert has not suggested, but they themselves learn from their friends or family, and then or themselves through internet, and then they come to us for help. So we see variable types of couples with variable interests
Hmm.
who come to us, and we always try and understand what helps them and take the route accordingly.
So if the experience of the women is fine, I mean she's getting her periods regularly and everything, couple can choose to come to Ayurveda for preconception rather than just right away going to modern medicine. Is that what we are
Yes,
implying?
you're right. But what is important here is, even in the Ayurveda fraternity, they have to look for doctors who specialize in that area
All
and who
right.
have worked in that area, because otherwise, you may not be going to a person who's able to help you with
Hmm.
that experience, which is also needed. So that's also a crucial point. And when they come, yeah, depending on a problem or there is no problem, we will take the case up.
But ma'am, in modern medicine, we have gynecologists and you directly go to a gynecologist, right? But in Ayurveda, I am not aware if there is a specific line where you can call, okay, this Ayurvedic doctor specializes in preconception or conception. So, how somebody like me would figure out, okay, where can I find a doctor and who would be a good doctor?
Yeah. So one is in Ayurveda also, there's a specialty
All right.
science like MD obstetrics and gynecology.
Okay.
Likewise, you have your masters here as well. It is called Prasuti Tantra and Stree Roga. So masters or MD in Prasuti Tantra and Stree
Sri
Roga,
Roga.
or OBG Ayurveda is one area where they can look at. Another area, because that is still emerging. There are many doctors who have experienced this the whole fertility area, and then they carry that experience, so they can also help the couple. So they have to identify such doctors, and those of them who work in the space of integrative medicine, where they might have done Ayurveda, yoga, and they would have integrated acupuncture also. They're also the right people to approach. Like at VHG, this is the approach we bring in, where we are giving a complete or a holistic approach in bringing together the multi systems, but that comes with an experience. Now we also have a very senior, very senior, OBG professional of
Alright.
Ayurveda, who is also helping us, guiding us, and he is
Okay.
my professor too. So that's how that whole aspect of the fertility and the gynecological care started maybe 15 years ago at Vivekananda Health Global.
Oh, that's quite long back. So we should essentially look for OBG Ayurveda and integrative practices. Whosoever can help us with that, that could be the first stepping stone if you want to go for preconception with Ayurveda.
True, true,
correct?
very true.
Okay. Ma'am, so I would like to take a step back, and I think that is more related to today's lifestyle and dietary problems. We see like many problems in endometriosis, PCOS that we have discussed. We know we have a fair idea what should we do, but we also see problems like tube blockages, right? And there are many other problems that you would be able to shed more light on. Do you and in such cases we often see, and I was trying to research about this conversation of ours, and I always saw only one suggestion, that you have to go to a gynecologist and you have to go under the knife. You have to, obviously the surgery has to be done, and that's the only solution. I do not know if it's the right question, but does Ayurveda have any solution? Do you have any solution, where people do not essentially have to go under the knife even before conception, and can provide solution to such problems? And please do let us know about more such problems that you and your patients come across.
Yeah. So tubal block comes with certain specific reasons. So one is sometimes they may have repeated ectopic pregnancy leading to tubal block. Sometimes they may have a tuberculotic history, and because of tuberculosis they might have a tubal block. There are many reasons like this. Now there is a classical modern line of treatment which is essential, especially say when it comes to a problem like tuberculosis, and otherwise, when depending on the condition, even post tuberculosis, suppose we intervene with Panchkarma, start preparing the reproductive health, this enhances their overall reproductive chances, that is, conception chances. And if they come directly with the tubal block, understanding the problem, because Ayurveda also explains this, it is a
Alright.
form of kapha dushti or vitiation of kapha based on different other reasons, which come up. And we design a treatment which mostly involves panchkarma, but also oral medication are very important. We have seen certain cases where tubal block has been reversed. We have also seen cases where it has not been. So we are very clear when they come, we should be able to understand. See, the discretion is always with the doctor. Let's not claim things. Let's not say, okay, I can treat every other tubal block. That's not the right way to go. So it is treatable, it is manageable. We should understand the reasons and then take up the intervention. So it has to be a very transparent communication between the person who is looking, to get better and the physician.
So is it safe to say, before getting under the knife, it is a good approach if you can find a good Ayurvedic doctor and take the treatment, and if that works for you, then wonderful. You don't have to actually go through the surgery as well.
Because when it comes to endometriosis, which
Yes.
is another major reason for infertility,
Right.
we see that endometriosis is once again intervened by some form of surgery, because
Yes.
you have to ensure that it is excised or removed. The endometrial debris is creating the problem, because what happens in endometriosis is you see the endometrium, the innermost layer of the uterus, out of the uterine cavity also, and that is where it causes a lot of inflammation within in the reproductive organs, and this is the reason why conception is not occurring. Now when we treat with ayurveda medication, panchkarma, followed by acupuncture and yoga therapy, we definitely get very good results. And cyclical acupuncture is something which helps a lot. And post panchkarma and along with medication, we do acupuncture on a every month basis. No, either it is pre ovulation or post ovulation. So we select this timing
Okay.
based on the problem.
Based on the problem.
Yeah, and if you're only targeting pain, we may do it differently. If you're targeting conception and further management of endometriosis, we may target it differently. So even acupuncture, for that matter, we need doctors, we need experts who are, actually doing the right job, and that's also a very important factor in getting the right result.
Ma'am, often we have seen that people, as I was talking to many people because we are in such conversations every other week now, people do not know if acupuncture is working or not. I think it's a misconception, right? And it's a myth because, again, you have to be patient with it. So, what would you like to say to such people if they come and tell you, ma'am, I don't think acupuncture is working for me or it does anything to me?
See, if it is a pain condition, in conditions such as adenomyosis and endometriosis, acupuncture is the intervention which gives us results from helping them get rid of their pain. And no patient coming here with those problems will tell that I am not seeing the change with acupuncture. They will watch for it. So that's the kind of change it can do, and it's very, very effective. Just that you need the right person, as I said.
Right
So,
person and patience.
and at VHG, we have doctors doing acupuncture, so that makes a lot of difference because they understand your anatomy and physiology, and they
Correct.
also understand the science of acupuncture. So, therefore, unknowingly or unknowingly, they might make some statements, but it's very much visible. But what also happens is we are not only intervening with acupuncture, only intervening with
It's
Ayurveda.
a holistic approach.
So there is a multidisciplinary approach which is also giving us a result. So it's overall. So when we do some intervention for about 3 months, we may not do any tests. Then we might repeat their follicular scan. We'll repeat their hormonal assay, and slowly figure out, what's the level of change.
All right. So, ma'am, any herbs that you suggest from the Ayurvedic perspective that during the preconception phase, both men and women can reach out to?
Oh yeah. So herbs are like, we talk about multivitamin supplements,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
they should not be also that way.
Okay.
It's 50-50. So you should not go and just pick up ashwagandha because I know ashwagandha is a very good aphrodisiac.
Ashwagandha and Shilajit, they both are being marketed so well that everybody thinks that they should be taking these.
Correct. So everybody should not be taking them.
Okay.
So Shilajit is something which has to be, processed with the right processing procedures because it's a mineral. If it is not processed well, and it can definitely cause toxic, side effects. And ashwagandha, of course, will not have any direct side effects, but you have to understand whether it's just these two or one of them. Is it for me or is something else for me? Okay, there are many more herbs, herbs such as shatavari, brahmi, and there are many more like musli. There are many like this, right? Which are very, very useful for fertility also. Than using single herbs, what we always suggest is a polyherbal combination. Ayurveda is known for polyherbal combination. This single herb remedy is just out of the market in the last maybe a decade or so. But it was never there before. You will not see Ayurveda doctors just giving you prescription for a shatavari tablet. Ashwagandha Brahmi single is used, but not otherwise. The rest of them would come. So if you go to a physician, you will always see a, something like a Chavanprash
Combination of
or a Ashoka Rishta, or a Shatavari Gulam, Shatavari Lehyam. So you'll see such formats, which is actually classical Ayurveda.
So, what I understand is in Ayurveda also, if you want to take multivitamin or preconception herbs, you have to go to a practitioner and get the right prescription in place. It is not over the counter like in modern medicine. You can pick some over the counter multivitamins.
True, even here you can pick, but we suggest not to.
Ma'am, we always focus on women's health a lot when it comes to preconception. I wanted to address this to men. Like what they can do, specifically just men, what they should do, what they can do for healthy conception of their baby.
Yeah, so see, zygote or the fertilization involves both sperm
Yes.
and the ovum. So there is no doubt when we say that fertilization or preconception methods are not for men. They are equally for men, equally for women. Sometimes, women take a little extra load, but that is different. But when you're looking at a normal, healthy conception where we know that both of them do not have any specific problems, then please ensure to understand that it's for both of you. So whether it's panchkarma, whether it is post panchkarma medication to improve reproductive health, whether it is yoga therapy, it's meant for both, because finally you will clap only if you have both your palms together. That's a very, very important point to understand.
Any misconception that you see your patients have for around preconception that you would like to address?
I don't see much of misconception. At least here, we find the couples coming up with some basic understanding. But what they do not understand is they could have probably planned this a little earlier, because time is lost. Now people are married for like good 7 years, 5 years, and then they start planning now when they are 32, 35, 34, and they will definitely have a low AMH. So they will definitely have a lower follicle stimulating hormone levels. Now, if FSH is low, where's the question of a good AMH? Where's the question of a good follicle? And you will have already a bit of dilution of hormones.
Yes.
There is stress, which is also contributing to all this. So, just understand the reality. Reality is that the best fertility rates are always below 30, whether you like it or not. If you're serious about it, I think you should just work around it so that you avoid all that stress which comes onto your head when you want to conceive. They are like, it's something is, the sky is on my head. That is the feeling they come with, right? And it's very, very difficult for us also to see the pain they are undergoing. So why do you want to undergo the pain? So be more pleasurable, and conception is just not going to happen by the sexual desire, sexual interest, or the timely sexual intercourse. It matters, much beyond what it is, otherwise just physically. So you have to grow beyond that physical limitation which everybody has when it comes to pregnancy, and understand that it will not happen even if all these things are in sync, because it is also having a very specific spiritual aspect to it, a very, very specific mental aspect to it. Both of them have to be wholeheartedly ready. Maybe if one is not, it may not happen. So we really can't understand
It
few
has.
things which are out of the physical domain.
It takes two to tango. As simple as that. Ma'am, I'm very glad you touched upon AMH. We have so many cases around us where the basic problem is that the AMH is very, very low, and that is why they have to go for IVF. Can you suggest some? I do not know. I mean, can you suggest some herbs, or can you suggest some therapies, or can you suggest some yoga exercises that can help today's women to, increase their AMH if that is possible at all?
No, increase in AMH is very much possible.
All right.
And the same, we do naturopathy detox sometimes, we do Ayurveda detox many times. And with medication of Ayurveda, acupuncture is giving us very good results. The
For
combination-
AMH?
For AMH. And if people, some of them say, no, I don't want to undergo a very regimental panchkarma. So you might do a very short naturopathy detox, because without helping the body cleanse a bit, if we try to give them medication or even acupuncture, response time is going to be very slow. So it's good if we can do a detox and then do acupuncture and continue with medication. So this bracket is once again cyclical. You have to do it, every month. Sometimes we do 10 days in a month, repeat it for 3 months. And so little long-term therapies are very essential. Of course, yoga is an integral part, because unless your hormones are in sync, then things don't change.
And ma'am, how long is this naturopathy detox that you said that it's not as long as Panchkarma, but how long is it?
It is long enough, but the thing is, it is a little more easier than
Okay.
Panchkarma to undergo the whole process. It is minimum for 5 days, maximum
Okay.
we go up to 10 days.
All right. Any other tips or any other learnings that you would like to leave us with before we close on this segment for preconception?
Preconception is actually like a penance. Okay, so you have to be ready to take up that wholeheartedly, physically, mentally, emotionally. Do the tapasya which is needed for both of you, the male and the female, to get that desired result out of your the havan or the tapas you are doing, which is the preconception. Because the whole process of the garbha and then the samskara of the garbha is compared to a holy ritual such as a havan. So prepare yourself that way. Do that which is essential in the form of different therapies, preparing your mind, body, and your soul to greet and welcome the new soul within you.
I think great analogy, ma'am. It is a tapasya for many, many women that come to Vivekananda Health Global, and we have seen many, many, many great results. And stay tuned for the next episode because we are going to cover the pregnancy itself and the post pregnancy care as well, where we have very good, interesting questions that we have got from our viewers. For example, what can I do about maintaining my physique? I think many women will be interested to know about this. Until then, keep smiling.